Okay, hello everyone here, and let's move forward and let's start our webinar.
Hello, let me introduce myself. My name is Dasha, I'm marketing coordinator in Belkastov, and I will be hosting this webinar for you today. You can always follow us on social media. You can see our profiles on the screen right now. So just follow us to keep up to date with the latest company news, events, as well as industry updates. Today's webinar topic is operation management system. So we'll talk about what is an effective form operation management system, how it can affect business growth, how to choose an operation system, and much more. You can now see our today's agenda on the screen. And I will make just now a quick overview of what we are going to discuss during this webinar. Today we'll be talking about what are the implementation goals of an operation management system, why every company needs to have one, what it can be used for. You will also learn what is an operations management system in general and what benefits the company gets from implementation of such system. It is also very important to choose the right OMS for a company. So we'll also talk about choosing criteria and how it can be connected to your existing IT system in a company. We will reveal some clients' stories and implementation results, and you'll find out why they chose RigER as an OMS for their company. And before we start, I would like to make a short introduction of our company for those who don't know much about us. So RigER is a flagship product of Belkastov Corporation. We originated from Calgary, Alberta, and our mission and focus is to help small and medium-sized businesses throughout the industry to go paperless. We do provide customized solution, understanding and appreciating the differences in everyone's business, and we do build on an integration, as it is important nowadays to integrate with many different systems because our customers have different preferences. So we do consider integrations to be a core differentiator for our system. So what is RigER as a product? It is a platform that has both cloud and application, which you can access for a desktop, and it is fully supported by the mobile application. Now I have a suite of mobile applications depending on the functions of your operations in the oil field. So from general dispatch to the sales and operations and purchases, in order to make you able to do many different operations when you're on the field and connecting to your main cloud database through the internet. RigER also has a number of user-specific or sub-industry-specific applications. They include rental equipment distribution, downhole tool solution, waste management, flowback, and others. And you can also see on the right hand of the map where our clients are situated. They are mostly from Canada and US. A lot of them comes from Texas and other states, and the number is growing, which is good. We are very glad to have new companies from US on board. And now we just go to the first part of the webinar. It's about implementation goals. So I will pass the microphone to Michael.
Hello, everyone. This is Michael Maltsev, and CEO at RigER. And today we have a big team here in Calgary. And with me, we have Nikolai, who is a VP of sales, and Gleb, who is VP of operations. So, and today we will talk about more why we focusing on what we do, and what is a digital oil field about, and how the focusing on the digital oil field will help companies to grow. Right now, what we see as a global trend is an industrial revolution 4 or industry 4.0, which is digitalizing everything. Different technologies starting connecting to each other and just disrupt the manufacturing, retail, you name it. And definitely we see a lot of impact of the industry 4.0 for the digital, from digital side to the digital oil field. And rediscovering growth. So the what we see from our standpoint and observing the industry for the last 10 years, that the digital oil field transforming operations. So the Internet of the Things, smart devices, cloud, mobile applications. So all those things change the landscape of the oil field dramatically. And that happening right now. So we see that digital ecosystems start growing, and companies become more productive, and they increase efficiency and reduce costs. So this is like digital oil field about. Oh, Nikolai?
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you, Michael. I think we are now on the edge of the future, and it's going to be very important for companies to understand what the points of growth are and what are the leverage systems that they can use and boost their businesses. So I think it's important to recognize the opportunity and not to miss it, and also along the same side to choose the right solution. And there's different options that are there, and we will talk exactly how to make it the right decision in your process, orienting yourself in that new and changing the industry 4.0.
Yeah, and then again, when we talk about implementation of the software and choosing of software or different technologies, the companies need to understand that if they will not do this step today, tomorrow they will probably be out of the business, out of the market. So the implementation's goal when we select the solution for our operations, it's just definitely make things faster, paperless, visible, connect office and oil field, and united the entire organization, combined departments together and build one source of truth. And definitely the company who would like to become a market and technology leader, they need to consider this implementation.
And as you can see, we put it as a bold statement, as a go digital or go home. And I think it's, with all the irony, it's important to understand that we all are digital in one way or another. And it's important to understand where the gaps are and what systems may support the future growth. I think that's the most important consideration here. The business can be okay now, but then what's next? And these are the big questions that quite often the C-suite representatives ask, and the companies internally are asking, especially the companies that are looking at growing their business and expanding and choosing opportunities and growing in new markets. Those are the ones that actually are asking questions that are coming now our way. We're happy to help, and we're happy to hear about their challenges in a way so that we can orient the product towards them and to help with the solution. So what is an OMS for? And again, OMS may have different interpretations. So in our ERP kind of related world or operations management world, so we call OMS as an operations management system. So it is used for specific purposes, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it's not for, but first focus is what is it more for, and how it's different from other systems that may create a sort of a suite or a bundle of different software solutions that a company can employ. So specifically, OMS is to track every oilfield job in detail. So we know that you can track information at a higher level, but the operations management systems are designed in a nutshell to make sure that you can track every operational activity in detail. You can also track in the OMS clients and contact information in one place. Again, it's something that you may have heard about the client management system or customer relationship management systems. So the CMS solutions. So it's important to see that it's part of an operations, and where we're looking at a solution, we also offer part of tracking that critical information about the clients and their contacts in one place, in one system. So another thing that is important that is differentiates OMS from other things, it's tracking prices in detail from general to the client specific. Again, your accounting or other software can allow you to track prices generally speaking, but then when you look at doing different price books, a granular approach, specific and custom focused approach, those other industry specific applications, they may not have the capabilities. So IMS usually is there for exactly to track those details. The full transparency of dispatch activities. So again, dispatch is the cornerstone of an operations management in oilfield services and rentals, and that's where the most important competitive advantage lies in many companies. So knowing what's going on is key to be able to measure it and to improve it. So transparency that can be offered using OMS system is essential, and that's what OMS provides. So retaining control of the operations and operational processes is again, it ties to the dispatch activities, and we want to make sure that OMS exactly is for that reason. Again, you have the control of the operations, because quite often we do have control of the finances, whatever the information you have in the system, but how do you know what's going on at the operational level in a quick and fully transparent way? That's where the challenge lies, and OMS helps to deal with that. Fast onboarding, again, it also ties to sort of what we've heard from many clients. How do you bring people on board if you don't have any system, or a paper system, or a disperse system, or a dispatcher knows everything in their head? How do you transfer that information? It becomes very challenging. That's where the OMS can also help, because everything is organized in per role, per function, with different views and dashboards and access levels. So you're able to share information just by adding a person and training them in the system exactly, having saved a lot of information on passing information from one person to another, which quite often is maybe impossible at all. And again, the final point of the OMS that we see the value in and would like to highlight here is the near real-time insight about the operational data. So all the data is available as long as you enter it, and everybody in the team supports it by entering their and doing their activity in the system. So you've got the near real-time information of your operations right there.
Yeah, and the short answer for what is a OMS is it's just to have a system in place which will help you to run your operations. And what do we see? The operations from one company to another company, they differ from each other. That's a challenge when we start talking about building, for example, CRM system or accounting software. It's more standardized, and you do not need to think about a particular client challenges, definitely you can have some customizations, but trust me, the operations side is more customizable and more flexible, should be more customizable and more flexible, because this is the nature of the business. And even we see the similar companies who run the business in the same area, same market, and pretty much the same equipment or services, they do differently. They do things differently, and that become their competitive advantage. So this required a lot of knowledge, education, and flexibility of the entire system to build the system in the map, and then put this map to the software level. And very important metrics for any system become the KPIs, or key performance indicators. And one of the most important indicator we spoke last webinar was rental unit utilization. It's a very, very important indicator which show us how efficiently we use all our resources. And it could be not only utilization of the rental units, but our employees as well, because nobody wants to pay for something if it's not working. Average prices per rental units could be used as well as a operation KPI to showing if we in the market or not, and what is an average price which we charge per day for a particular piece of equipment. Operational profit by operation managers, very important thing. We see a lot of our clients require that information to evaluate performance of the different regions, different business lines, and different managers. Number and value for new jobs, number and value of tickets, number and value of rejected jobs. So that gives you an understanding of the level of transactions and where you're going, and to analyze trend and understand what needs to be adjusted and what needs to be corrected. Definitely working hours per field technician, rental units, locations. Those are very popular questions which usually our clients ask us, and we provide that information via reports. Maintenance, repairs, and inspection history of the rental units is also an important thing to better understand how the equipment and the entire fleet performs.
Yeah, that's a great point, Michael. I agree completely. And again, these are the things that we help to set up, and we hear from clients that are trying to understand it, but asking the right question is the first thing that needs to happen, and these KPIs allow you to ask these questions. How am I doing in any of those? Will give you an idea of where you are at, and then you'll be able to set a goal going forward as a service company. So where do we leak revenue? That's not our question. There's a reason why I didn't quote Mark's, is that because that's a question that quite often get asked, and we hear it a lot. And the answer is a multi-prong. There is no one specific answer to where the revenue may not be gained or earned, or where the leaks may have happened from the ongoing job. So we see that if there's no system of anything, of any operations management system in place, that's outright the biggest hole in a hull, if you will, and you wouldn't know what's going on. And sometimes what we hear from accounting firms when we have communication with them, so the list can be 30, 40, 50% in some cases that companies are not even aware of. Definitely having paper information media is something that generates an extra level of effort to spend the time to track one, and then those can be lost as well. So that's where you may look and experience, depending on the number of tickets, the value of them, so you can experience leak in that source. Whiteboard tracking, again, they're not precise, they're not up to date, loss of time, loss of equipment is an often case and cause for the lost equipment, or lost revenue rather. That is very important to kind of capture and keep track of. Lost jobs, again, lost jobs means that when you have an incoming request and you don't even properly track it, you don't know that it has ever occurred. There was a need on a client end, so you don't have the visibility on information about it in a timely manner to respond to it. So that's your other source of a leak. No tickets, again, when a job can be done, but there's no ticket, there's no document, everything has been transferred verbally, or by a text that is not retrievable or trackable, so there is no document, no invoice. So that's, again, sharing information is key, and retaining information in the system. An excessively long job to cash cycle. So imagine a time when you still have a paper ticket, you have issued it on, and you have track of it, and you have it in your stack, but then something is wrong, you send it over to the client, and again, everything is paper trail and a paper speed. So then it comes back, your collection period extends excessively, and it becomes a burden, and it's a leak of an unnecessary expense on your account. Quality control of a job is another important one that quite often is overlooked, because when a technician is on site, not all information can be transferred back into the office on a paper ticket, and some information may be misrecorded, misrepresented in a ticket, such as quantity of items, and then that may cause extra runs up and down to collect equipment to fulfill the order. Safety is an important one as well, because it may cause a lot of issues, not only regulatory or compliance ones, but there can also relate to the injury and the hazard. So that can bump up your cost if you don't have proper processes rather in place to track the safety record. And timing is all kind of it's a common denominator in all of them, and especially in the job quality control. If you react to the poor quality of job in timely fashion, then you can deal with that and retain the job and recover the revenue. If you do not do that timely, so that can lead to a loss, again, in efficiency and productivity, as well as in the job in general. And the final one we just pointed out is that some people can have systems, and we've seen that. So there may be an OMS process set in place, but the systems that are used are disjointed. So there's no information flow. Again, it's a siloed environment in which there is no communication and collaboration. And that requires then double and triple data entry from one system to another, which then leads to errors, then leads to miscommunication, misinformation, misinvoicing, and then the ball kind of keeps rolling and getting bigger and bigger with all the different issues, creating a bigger hole in the revenue stream. So that's these are the key ones that we wanted to point out, that an OMS system and a process in place can help address and actually plug them and retain the revenue and grow it.
Yeah, and ironically, that we usually receive those questions from the companies which is not struggling but growing, and they're growing so fast they couldn't understand if it's like organic growth or they have some um, issues with the current system. They probably missing some revenue, so maybe some tickets, maybe especially when you system is not scalable, it's really tough to grow. So let's talk about the leverage points of growth. So how the company is growing and what is it operation management system is about, and how this how we see the place of the OMS in the entire company structure. So when we see the entire process, like from starting from scratch, from client request to the final invoice, here we have a sales, operations, and accounting and finance department. So, and usually, like traditionally, all the software comes from the accounting and software accounting and finance side. So, and our traditionally, most of our clients use QuickBooks. It's more US. Sage 50 is more more Canada, and some of our clients use other systems like Microsoft Dynamics, Business Central, SAP, etc. And right now, what we see in from the sales perspective, we see a boom of the CRM systems like Salesforce, Zoho CRM, Microsoft CRM, all kind of different systems which become more standard thing for sales department nowadays. But in the middle of and all between those two systems, we have some vacuum. We have some issues which we need to fix, and this is where we position ourselves. So we understand that the gap between CRM, like information gap between CRM and accounting, should be a position for the operation management system. And here, what we have and what we see always, the clients, they ask, okay, can we connect RigER and CRM and accounting software or e-billing software?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. And again, there are other systems, and you've noticed that there are such things as ERP. We're not mentioning them specifically. We're focusing more on a functional level systems, and we will talk about that with the other systems and approaches in a bit. But these are, the key functions that we've noticed require a system approach and information sharing that OMS is helping to bridge that gap between the two. And again, so where does that fit? And we can say that the target is on a dispatcher, and it's not really a target. He's a center of the universe of the operations management in the oil field services and rental businesses. And the key thing for them is just to have a system in place that is a little beyond and more friendly than a notebook or a Google spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet, but more interconnected with everyone in the system, in the organization, so that everyone would then focus on the job, but not on the tracking as an administrative task. So that's where we see the operation management system kind of hits right there, the target. And yeah, I'll just let Michael comment on that. But this is a quick overview of the oilfield job. Then that with RigER as an operations management support, and that's basically is an operations of a standard, uncomplicated rental or services job in the oil field.
Yeah, everything starts from sales, then goes to the management for the approval, dispatcher, field technician, back information to the dispatcher for approval, and everything goes to accountant to invoice. This is just a very, very simple cycle of any oilfield service and rental job. And as we see, the starting point is sales and the end point is accounting. So that is why we have that kind of filling the gap between sales and accounting. So when we talk about points of growth and how the operation management system can help you to grow, we see some of the points which definitely help the company to better manage the internal processes. However, it's strained the external position of the company in the marketplace.
And so those that we identified have come not from a book, but from the real experience when we are talking to the clients. And what we recognized and identified them here includes automation. So again, automation is a bigger word, but then specifically when we talk about the operations management systems. So automation is when the system allows you to automate the processes. So for example, you can automatically register a request for the or create a rental service agreement. You can automate invoice issuing. You can automate tracking of information in the system. So the system allows you to automate. Why not to use it? Because that's your that's where you can grow. You don't need to track things manually. Automation using the computer system allows you to do that function more effectively and efficiently. Streamlined business processes built into the system, so that's another point of growth. So you can not only use the paper process in place, and then you can modify your processes having a system in place. So some OMSs like RigER allow you to change the business flow in the system as your business requirements change. So you no longer need to follow a black box where you kind of log in and then you have no flexibility in it. So a smart IOMS operations management system allows you to change the processes as you are changing, and that's what we see in a lot of growing companies right now. When they have one set up in the beginning and then they're changing, we're there to help them to modify the flow in the system. So access and visibility of the data is another important point of growth. And why don't I just let you, Michael, comment on that specifically, because it speaks to the availability of data.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd like to step a little bit back and give you some examples. When we ask the client why they change their mind, or so oftenly they told it's not our requirements, it's dictated by our clients. So, and it's like the chain reaction when we have the requirements from the clients, and they have to change the entire internal business processes, and we need to adjust the software. So, and we consider this as a normal process and normal way how to run the business, because we understand that things are changing, and the software should be dynamic, should be some sort of flexibility, and understand what was in the past, what will be in the future. And that perspective, this is one of the reasons why we're running those webinars, to show the perspective and show where we're going and where we come from. And yes, the access and visibility of data, up-to-date availability, that is very important. And some of our clients, they use the dashboards. Some of the clients, they prefer to have email notifications daily, even hourly, or triggered by a particular event in the system, which is give them a sense of urgency and understanding what's going on in the operations every single moment, every single day. And advanced scheduling gives predict or plan our future jobs, and build a particular field calendars, field technicians calendars, schedule routine operations. For example, if you need to have the inspection of the equipment every second week, we can build that schedule and preset that schedule, and the tickets will be generated automatically. Definitely, scalability of the software is very important, especially for the growing companies which like to understand how scalable the system could be. And we will talk about that later. About all the features. Integrations with existing software become extremely important, because companies do not want to spend a fortune for the implementation of the software, and do not want to change all the software ecosystem, which become a huge point. Because when you start implementing, you need to educate people, you need to adjust some of the process, you need to have like 2, maybe 4, maybe 6 months, give people understanding, and a little bit switching from one system to another, which is important because nobody wants to change, especially when you run the active business and you have some revenue coming, and you need to understand and care about your clients as well. So reminder notifications, another thing which keep our clients up to date. Expedited business cycles, so which shrink the entire waiting time between job done and invoice sent to the client. And the next day invoicing is our model. So it's very important. It's growing point. It's become just show the client the efficiency of your system, show how fast you are and how easy you can adjust or react on any changes in that. And definitely all those factors can improve the utilization from, like, we have different metrics, but an average number is 20% utilization improvement in average when you're implementing the operation management system. So, how to choose the system and what could be a selection criteria? Definitely, when we start the system, so when we start the company, people trying to put and track all the equipment based on paper ticket, whiteboards. I saw one fun picture when we have like 3 or 4 different offices, and there is no walls in the offices. Was like all the walls were covered by whiteboards with an enormous amount of numbers there, and it was really really tough to see. And the client told, we need you to help us because we have no any walls in our room in our offices, so we need to have some robust system in place. Yeah, definitely the next step which people trying to do, it will be a Google spreadsheet or Excel, which is a good tool for the one. But when you see that you have like 20 to 50 rental units moving back and forth every day, and you have 2 or 3 person who dispatch that, probably Excel is not the best tool. We had that in the past, in my experience, and it was really, really tough. The next step, which people start thinking, it's in-house built software. So they start thinking about, okay, can we build this on say Microsoft Access to SQL databases, or any very, very simple simplified software. It works in some cases, but in general, now there is some limitations of this solution, because the in-house team, there is no stimulation to grow. They always thinking about secure their workplace, and they not very focused on the growing the software, add new features, or understand what the particular client need, or they actually have like peers need. Previously, most popular system was on premise, but right now we see that cloud is the king. And more and more businesses moving all the operations to the cloud.
So on a system level, again, what system to choose? So our recommendation is always to go with the cloud. That can be a secure cloud, private cloud. That's a variation of a cloud. But then cloud is the way to go, because that saves you the money on operating at the system, and then you work with the people that are specifically focusing on delivering that product to you, regardless of where you are. So that retains the connection with even everyone. So that's our recommendation, and that's what we see what's happening. So the selection criteria, again, so since we've decided which way to go, so if the cloud is the way to go, that's what we recommend to every company that is considering an OMS. So first things that we're looking at is what is the business requirements? And again, it's a very broad terms. IT managers know that it's literally a black hole, that anything can be consumed in it. So it includes a few key things. So what are the business processes? And what are these key functions? What are the roles? What are the input and output that we need to identify? So it can be a simplified thing, but you still need to think about the business requirements and what do you want the system to accomplish. You also have to, when selecting a solution, secure the top management support. The system is a change, and a change is a hard thing, as we all know, at an organizational, even at a personal level. So you always have to think about that as well. So what kind of support you have at organizational at the top of it. So user support again. So people have to be really willing and desiring to make a change and understand at least the situation they're in and see where they want to go. Again, that kind of ties with the top management, because in smart organizations where we see the top and the middle and the lower levels of the organizational personnel are all interconnected. So everybody has to be moving forward in tandem. And that's where that's part of the criteria and selection process where it should be established. The functional requirements is another big criteria that has to be considered by all the companies. So let me just kind of pause here and let Michael a little bit elaborate on the functional, because it's an important one to select from the list.
Definitely, because when we talk about the big systems, especially like ERP kind of size, then you need to understand that they, especially for the operation, you have a different business processes, and those business processes require the kind of different level or different details to run those things. I can give you an example. Say two ways how you can organize the purchases. So, for example, you can have the one-level approval system, or you can have a multi-level approval systems. Both system can work, but not all the system have can have the several levels of the approval, PO approval system. And integration with existing systems is very important. We already mentioned that. Definitely budget and resources is the way where you select the particular system. And budget is one thing, and resources is another thing. Resources means that you need to spend time understanding how the system works. You need to understand how the implementation works, and you need to assign a particular person who will do this thing. Because what we see, what kind of challenge the company has when they implement a new system, the loads for the end users maybe in 2 times, maybe 3 times more, because they need to do like a general job, what they have, like purchases, sales, whatever, and they need to run 2 or 3 months sometimes. The parallel tracking in both systems, like old one and a new one, and it really time consuming. So, and again, the task of for the top management is to show what is the goal and what we're trying to achieve here. So technology and future scalability is another thing which you need to consider when you select the system. Total cost of ownership and ROI is a standard key performance indicators for any system. And evaluate and select options, and then understand the necessary customization, because the customization for operations is one of the big thing which we see, I would say, in every single project. So what to not expect from operation management system? First of all, it's not an accounting system. So not confuse operation management system with CRM or ERP. Another thing, it's not a magic box. It's not fixed and make it balancing itself. So you have to do something about this, and you have to spend time to understand how it works, what kind of adjustments you need to have in your business processes, in your work, and maybe particular documents. It could be some changes.
I think I just wanted to add, Michael, to that. So it's like, and I like, there may be an argument about that, but it's not. It's like you buy a vehicle and it's not going to go by itself. You have to run it. You have to sit. You have to put gas in it. And that's when it becomes an asset, and then it becomes, that's where you derive the value out of it. So the system, the car by itself is not going to drive you anywhere, unless, again, like I said, there's a caveat. Now there is automatic vehicles and all this autonomous vehicles and how they can run. Again, somebody has to control that in the first place. But we're not there yet. We're still trying to gap that bridge, or the bridge to that gap rather, and have a system that would allow you to get from point A to point B fast enough. So that's where the OMS is. So it allows you to really look at the process, simplify them, automate them, get the information in and out as fast as possible, and streamline the processes. So it will not fix the organizational problems like we just discussed. If there are issues organizationally, they have to be addressed and then put on paper. And then if they're important, they need to be resolved by the management. Because they can be in the way to get the system going. So you have to understand the challenges and then be realistic about what you want to accomplish with the team and the people that you have that support you in the project.
So we are in a Q&A session. So please show us if you have any questions, topic discussed. So we can move forward and see.
So, Dasha, do we have any questions? Feel free to bring them up.
Yes, actually, we have questions. So the first question is from Leah. The question is, what is the difference between ERP and OMS?
Okay, so OMS could be a part of ERP, so it's a very, very simple answer. So ERP usually include supply chain management, CRM, the production software or operation management software, payroll, accounting, finance. It could be another HR module. So lots of different modules, and operations management system could be one of the part of the OMS systems. Or ERP systems, the entire ERP system.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I actually have one more question from John. What's the cost of RigER OMS solution?
Good question. And usually we have two scales where we need to define. The first one is the complexity of the solution and number of features and criteria which we need to include, and the second, the number of users. So when we talk about RigER, it will be a different kind of different solutions. So to answer that question, it's easy to contact us, and we will show you what we have as a number of features, and based on that we'll put the configuration card and put the number of users. So it's very, very simple, transparent process, but we need to understand what exactly you need.
Okay, thank you. So I don't have any more questions so far.
Good. So let's move forward, and let's talk about a little bit more about RigER and why our clients choose that. We did the client view, why they choose us, and most common answer was the user-friendly interface, fast start, the integration ability, work with volume of data. Standability uptime is 99.99, so it's like usually it's not a problem like past 5 years. So another thing when we talk about advantage of the cloud, you do not need to support your own server. And we do 2 times update per year, and we have oilfield expertise and different use cases which can help our clients to implement and adjust their processes. And definitely we have outstanding support. The client survey, which we recently did, showing that the number one reason why clients use RigER was a great visibility of operations. They see what they need exactly at the same time when they need it. And mobile oilfield application is one of the most important, like top 3 criteria why they choose RigER and why they use RigER. And the rest is invoice faster, reduce manual labor, support, operation performance analysis, accurate invoicing, and ability to customize and integrate. So first of all, we need to thank to all our clients for that a great opportunity to work with them, with us, and it's a privilege and very interesting to see the different operations. And let me show you some examples of implementation projects. And I will ask Gleb to step in and tell us about this particular client.
Thank you very much, Michael. Hello, everyone. My name is Gleb. I'm VP of Operations in RigER. So this quick use case scenario was a sharp one and bright one because we've seen that this client was experiencing some issues with tracking the equipment because since this company is not so big and there are just 3 users in the system, they have around 100, a little bit more than 100 rental units, and they operate mainly in one geographical area. So they were experiencing challenges with tracking their equipment, even physically tracking that, and just the exchanging information between different people, between field technicians. And they were looking for the program, pretty simple and easy understanding system that will allow them to put all the information in one place and just to move all these pieces easily in the one inbuilt system. They have also trying to perform the invoices in a fast and efficient manner, but again, due to the lack of the communication between people, it was kind of challenging. And once they have implemented a RigER system, they had an ability to generate invoices faster and send them to the accounting software.
Yeah, and the good thing that they pretty happy about RigER, and they can focus on the growing the business and expand geographically and potentially increase the rental fleet as well. So another example, the innovative Oilfield Rental Company, they start building the business several years ago in Canada and expand their operations to US. Right now, they have 3 different business entities, 150 employees, roughly 12 users right now, and around like half of their 1,000 of complex surface equipment. It was a 3-stage implementations with 9 months because we had to start from main company, then implement RigER and 2 others. And the result was the full cycle of the rental fleet operations in RigER, complex equipment inspections and repairs, and integration of the QuickBooks of those 3 different companies. And the next step for this particular project is Oilfield mobile applications. Another example, it's a fast-growing company in the Permian. They started from 2 users 3 years ago, and right now they have 20, which is a very, very rapid growth. And they told that it was not possible to grow that fast without RigER. And the complex rental components, they started from, I remember that they first purchased like first 300. Right now they have 13,000, and it's still growing. They had lots of purchases, and we built for them the fully capable POS system in RigER, and build the integration with custom accounting system. And right now, the developing of this product is a new mobile application, which is mobile oilfield purchases, and we are developing the entire mobile purchase system for them, and I believe that will be implemented very, very soon. Another company in United States started from manufacturing, and they focus on the rental operations, and they have very extensive complex rental fleet components and around 200 employees with several locations in US. They growing from 6 users to 25 in 2 years, which is again a very, very fast growth. We built for them a custom solution. It's not RigER, it's a little bit different software based on RigER. And it was 6 stages of implementations, different parts. It was probably the most complex implementations in our history in past couple years. And right now they have the integration with Microsoft Business Central. They have a full cycle of downhole tool services, order, shop, and field management systems. And the next step for this project is advanced business analytics and shop floor mobile applications. So they'd like to use mobile applications in the shop to track all the components and assembling, disassembling of downhole tools. So how RigER is different? Definitely we gain the experience from oil field, and we focus on only the oil field. We do not have any other software, and we do not want to go actually anywhere because we love what we do, and we highly appreciate people in oil patch. I believe it's really great and very friendly and hardworking people, and we really appreciate that opportunity. Definitely, we build our system to implement software as fast as possible. So speed of implementation and speed of action is always will be our competitive advantage. We have a flexible platform, do lots of customizations and integrations. We have very good support, knowledge base, and recently we added a RigER Academy, which we will develop as a special project to educate RigER users about the oil field, digital oil field, about the software and different user roles. We have developed a methodology of the implementation, RigER implementation. Usually for the complex project, we do pre-implementation consulting. Then we have a section for onboarding, a special section for the customization project, integration projects, and user training as a mandatory thing for all our users. So RigER has a different modules like sales, dispatching and scheduling, field operations, price management, equipment rentals, general rentals, invoice and billing, safety, business analytics, mobile operations and integration. So right now we have 4 different mobile applications which has different focusing and different functionality. So sales, operations and purchases, and mobile oil field. So mobile oil field mostly focus on small and medium-sized companies. The oilfield services, oilfield sales and operations and purchases mostly focusing on this small, mid-size operations where we have a separated functionality for particular users. And definitely, RigER has more than 15 different integrator connections to the different software. So I encourage you, if you'd like to see, if you have lots of different questions about oilfield operations, digital oilfield, so book your demo today. We will show you in 30 minutes all the features and modules. You will ask the questions and get your quotes. So answer a question, how to know what will be the cost of the OMS by RigER. This is the way.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah. I guess we. I know that it's been an extensive topic. We've had a lot to cover, and it's a little. It's intangible in the sense that, but it's tangible in the result of it when you implement an OMS. So we just want to make sure that everyone, gets sorry to interrupt you, but it gets a chance to ask a question. But since we are running a little bit out of time, we need to kind of highlight what we've talked. And the key thing that we wanted, if anything, we wanted you to understand that OMS is a separate thing that quite often is overlooked in companies. And but there are solutions that help you, and OMS is a great point to leverage to grow the business, to get things organized and connect the company from the inside, and as well as unite under one roof, and then ensure that your business growth goals, your survival and adaptation to the changing market can be supported by a system such as an OMS implemented by RigER, for example. And you will definitely be able to reap all the benefits of the companies that have been using RigER and working with us in the past 7 years. So there is a good chance to move forward and not to kind of be in the laggard camp, but rather in the forward-looking and fast-moving group of companies that are going to change the whole oil field industry using the latest technology. I guess that's kind of a quick summary of what we've discussed. So we're encouraging you guys to ask any question. We don't want to take up more of your time. I know you have busy days ahead of you, so lunch kind of time is running out. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them via email, phone, social media. We're everywhere, as you've seen, so on all different channels. We'll be more than happy to interact with any one of you. We quite often travel both here in Alberta and in US, so we're available and accessible by any means and every means. So feel free to reach out and ask any questions that you may have come up with or want to hear from somebody else in your team and bring them over. And again, a quick intro of the next week's webinar. We're going to be talking on a specific topic, such as a field ticket versus rental ticket, and what's the difference of it as a RigER, and what do you do with each of them, and how you can use them in your oilfield operation, because we know everybody has different tickets, have different systems in place. So we'll show you how RigER allows you to effectively handle different tickets in the system and what you get in the end. So we're going to be talking on the subject in a week from now, and if you haven't signed up, please do sign up. There will be a reminder coming out shortly, so please do not hesitate and do sign up and ask us any questions beforehand if you have any.
Yeah, the next week webinar will be more practical, more focusing on the particular buttons in a software. Today's topic was more visionary and understanding where we're going and why we do what we do. And yeah, I encourage you to participate like every week on our webinars and learn more about what we do and learn more about the industry, because we're trying to combine our experience from different lines, different as like sub-industries and aspects of the different type of equipment, type of jobs. So yeah, we trying to be open and transparent and translate our vision and our knowledge to all the industry, to the entire RigER community.
So on that note, we wanted to wrap up for the day. So thank you very much again for being with us today, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.